to find Nigeria. I haven't checked eye candy in a while. Maybe I should check that out. Okay, looks okay. That's a pretty cool animation. Looks clean. Oh, that's a sick wallpaper. Okay, a lot of blood, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, damn, that looks good. Yeah, make that my wallpaper. Yeah, some Splinterlands model packs, new ability, weird dinosaur, Rexy's brother. Whoa, that looks good. Damn. Oh, what was this? Crappy mobile game or something? Fernheart? Oh, that looks good. Oh, that's okay. Not as good as Fernheart. Okay, this is the rest of it. It still looks bad. Maybe it'll be more polished in the future. Right now, the assets look pretty bad. Trailer, whatever. Some more art. Roadmap. Hero art. Yo! He looks pretty. Yo! Yo! These look good! Oh my god. Let me just react to them. Yeah. Hey, it's been a while. If you're wondering why I'm so excited, then you probably haven't played when this was the standard. Let's do a quick comparison. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear which one is new. For the people who are new to Splinterlands, Splinterlands is a digital card game where you build a team of monsters led by a summoner and have them automatically fight for you. Kind of like TFT or Auto Chess, but with 3 quick 3-minute rounds where you draft your team with rule sets and a mana cap. Back to the video. 7 new Riftwatcher cards have been recently released, and I'll be taking a look at the 6 summoners in this video. For our first summoner, we have Dylan. Cripple decreases max HP by 1, making him an extremely niche counter to healing team comps. But when we already have Affliction, it's kind of difficult to justify using Dylan. Thaddeus Brood seems to do his job but better by giving -1 HP to all monsters at the start of the battle, making the max HP reduction actually relevant. The extra -1 magic gives Thaddeus a much better matchup coverage and counters magic teams like Obsidian. I'm gonna have to give Dylan a 1 out of 5. He's pretty bad since max HP reduction isn't all that useful when it only procs on hit, especially when there are much better alternatives like Thaddeus Brood or even Waka Spirit Blade if you're going for extra damage. Or so I thought. As it turns out, Cripple actually procs Life Leech, making Life Leech units extremely overpowered in Bronze. Enter Life Sapper and Venari Bonesmith. This alone completely flips the script, since these cheap death magic lifesteal units are now healing 2 health per turn for just 3 mana. You should also keep in mind that these units, without Cripple, were already very strong in low mana death teams, and will now be completely broken. Another great lifesteal unit is Ancient Lich, since lifesteal heals 50% of the damage dealt rounded up. With Cripple, Ancient Lich will be gaining 3 health every turn, while doing 3 magic damage, which is kind of ridiculous in Bronze. I'm gonna give this card a 4 out of 5, just because it would be a 5 out of 5 if every single team always used Life Leech, but without these 3 cards in particular, Life Leech, Dylan's Cripple isn't very good. Moving on, we have Master of the Pearl Trident, a merfolk creature with 2 toughness and a mana cost of 2 blue. Wait, that can't be right. There we go. Aquaman. Gives all units backfire. This increases the DPS of high-speed dodge comps, which Water already has. We have units like Phantom of the Abyss, Serpent of Eld, with dodge and high speed, which could make this a very powerful tool to counter slower melee spam teams that use Lorna Shine and Kelya by breaking their thin layered defenses while effectively negating their damage. The only real issue I have with Aquaman is that it's very RNG reliant. As you can see, dodge flying, well, yes, they reduce the attack accuracy and the speed difference, but if they are running flying, high-speed flying units, this strategy doesn't work. Another thing is that we also need to know that the opponent won't go magic. So Aquatus is only very strong in no magic rule sets, where you know for a fact that they're probably going to miss. I'm going to give this card 4 out of 5 because it already has clear synergy with established units like Serpent of Eld, seeing a lot of play in Bronze. I mean, some play, due to its ability to dodge melee and ranged attacks. And it could be very strong if used correctly, even in the lower leagues. Obviously, there's that element of RNG, but over lots of games that will balance out. Next, we have Skargore. Now, Skargore gives all allied units Enrage. This has a lot of potential to be completely cracked. There's kind of two synergies with monsters here. So we can either turn big, slow monsters like Magnor, like Grum Flameblade, like Living Lava, into huge sweepers that just end up sweeping the entire enemy team. Or we can take fast, hard attackers and turn them into very, very hard to hit attackers. This is because Enrage, again, increases speed by 50% rounded up, making Phineas Rage's 5 speed into 8 speed, which is a pretty hard to hit monster. Some interesting cards that I will note that need to be tested will be Countess Synash with Phineas Rage. This makes sure that Phineas Rage gets the Enrage proc while keeping Countess Synash able to attack from the backline. I think this could be good. While Countess Synash doesn't benefit from Enrage, it can allow Phineas Rage to benefit more easily while having a backline unit for like medium to high mana caps. Another card would be Efreet Elder with its Last Stand ability. If it's the only unit in play, it'll gain plus 50% to all stats. This means that the magic damage will be going to 2, speed will be going to 5, and health will be going to 12. With Enrage, magic damage doesn't change because Enrage only increases melee damage, but the speed will increase. So we end up looking at something like this with 2 attack, 8 speed. That shouldn't say 18 health, that should just say 12 health. But still nonetheless a very, very fast, hard to hit attacker that only requires 10 mana to pull off this combo. This beats things like Cursed Windaku in lower mana caps. This beats Living Lava in low mana caps. So clearly there is some way for this combo to work, particularly in low mana. The only real issue I could find with this is that you have to wait until you're hit or your health is brought below your maximum threshold. And this can sometimes take a turn, it can take 2 turns, it could be immediate, especially if you're using slow attackers. Grum Flameblade, yeah, slow attackers like Grum Flameblade get past this by having only 1 speed, which means all of the enemy units will attack first before Grum Flameblade gets a chance to attack. maximizing his use out of rage. Living Lava, same thing, 1 speed, maximizes the use of Enrage. I'm thinking this card is an easy 5 out of 5. If this card doesn't somehow like completely break lower leagues, it's because another Riftwatcher card is just completely ruining the meta and making the game unplayable for everyone else. The downside earlier actually took me a full hour to think of, and it's not even that big of an issue. This card is just that good. Next up, we have Ilthain. Now, look at that artwork. Anyway, +1 speed is really nice to see. Return Fire seems... +1 speed gets seen in Pyre. It also gets seen in Kellia Frendel. These cards are usually used for the +1 speed. In Kellia's case, is for the extra dodge chance, which can be powerful with the armor. And with Pyre, it used to be used very often, I think before Chaos Legion's release, where you would go Pyre into the Malric matchup to ensure that your Serpentine Spy hits before theirs does. Return Fire is a very, very strong Sloan counter, Jotun counter, but Lear fills the same niche. And it doesn't see any play. This is for less mana, but it also gets less done, because Lear has that extra shield, that extra speed. You could argue that Water has River Nymph, which has Amplify, but by that same token, Life is arguably better with Amplify in Bronze League on Dax Paragon. The only issue I really have, other than it being similar to Lear and Lear not seeing much play, is that it's not really as versatile as Lorna. Like, sure, this will do well against ranged comps, but if they're not playing ranged, Ilthain doesn't offer much other than the +1 speed for 4 mana. And it's not like ranged is completely taking over our meta. It's actually the opposite, other than the occasional either taunt teams with Sloan or Jotun Zaku, really, at least in Bronze League. The only real big upside other than these is that you can use level 3 rares in Bronze. Just like all of the other epic summoners in this video, you can use level 3 rares in Bronze if they're leveled to level 2, and if they're leveled up to level 5, you can use level 7 rares in Gold, allowing for the use of cards with abilities that honestly belong in Silver League or Diamond League. Some notable life mentions would be Time Mage for getting the extra magic attack at level 3, and Celestial Harpy for also getting a noticeable extra damage, bringing it to a 2 damage, 2 mana card, which is very, very good in Bronze. I think I was on the border between a 3 and a 4. I think this card needs to be tested. With Dax, it is clearly a very strong counter pick to ranged teams, but I think it lacks versatility. The bottom line, again, is that it needs to be tested, and I think it's definitely better than Lear because it gives you that option of whether you want to spend that 3 mana for extra survivability, or if you're okay with putting out Shield Bearer with Taunt and bringing all the ranged fire there. Second last card is Sthispa, my queen. Yes, that was actually in the script. Anyway, Sthispa gives all friendly units phase. Now, this is way more exciting than you might initially think. This gives us a way to be immune to any attack, albeit based on RNG. The only real counter is True Strike, which could actually start seeing play in reaction to the release of this card. There are so many synergistic units off the top of my head. There's Chaos Agent with the dodge, essentially giving you, for 1 mana, a 25% chance to completely negate one of your opponent's attacks. And this could keep happening, but the chance is very slim, but it could still keep happening. Which I think makes this card very strong. Like, into even range, you can make them miss. So we also have Dragon Jumper with high speed and flying. Again, when it gets down to it, when the opponent has like 1 or 2 magic units and all you have left is that Dragon Jumper is going to be able to dodge a lot of these magic attacks. And that's really what you want to look for in, like, dodge comps before this couldn't deal with magic. We have Dragon Spirit, 3 mana, decently high health, especially for 3 mana. 5 speed, very high for 3 mana. And flying. This card is very, very strong. I think it was strong before, but we didn't really have good dragon summoners to pair with this, other than maybe Byzantine Kitty. And then with Phase, it's just completely broken, because now you're also dodging all those Obsidian teams. In wild format, you can be dodging Alric teams. This just makes true dodge comps possible, as in comps which rely on dodging as a tanking mechanism against all types of damage. Next, we have Void Dragon. Now, Void Dragon is a bit of an interesting one. I've been testing it before this with Byzantine Kitty to get that heal every turn, to get the extra speed. But now, with Sthispa, it's going to also start dodging magic units, which was the main problem I was facing with trying to make a full dodge comp. Now, Void Dragon actually gets Phase at level 3, which is Gold League level. So this just shows how strong Phase is going to be on some of these high speed cards, especially the these 3 dragon cards. The only issue really is that it can be countered by True Strike and high speed cards. Byzantine Kitty is a huge counter. Byzantine Kitty sees a lot of play, so I can see Sthispa kind of falling to that if it ever comes down to it. I think Sthispa is a 4 out of 5. There are still ways to counter it, but it's very, very interesting, and it's a fun card, really. It offers a new way to play the game with true dodge comps. And I just think this will offer players a new way, just to play the game. Last but certainly not least, we have Fernheart. +1 health at close range. Actually, before I go into this, I need to quickly explain how Splinterland balances cards. You see, first they take the rarity, level, and mana cost, and dragon, neutral, other typing, and they give a card an allocation of points that they can spend. Now, each ability and stat has a certain point cost, which differs for each stat depending on how strong or weak it is. Then abilities and stats are added to the card until the point cost is filled. Now, this is a simplification, but melee units can only attack from the first position and is blocked by armor and can miss. So melee attack points are cheap. Magic goes through armor and can attack from any position, so magic attack points are expensive. They also don't miss. Ranged can't attack from the first position and is blocked by armor, so ranged attack points are cheap. Do you see where I'm going with this? Close range makes ranged units stronger than they should be. Fernheart essentially removes ranged units' biggest downside, allowing cards with possibly quite ridiculous stats the ability to not suddenly lose their damage output once their support units start falling. Cards like Mythica Headhunter, which costs 8 mana, which is a lot, but also has 4 ranged attack at level 1. With 5 speed and a decent 5 health, close range is a strong buff for Mythica Headhunter. I don't think you'll be playing this as a tank, but as a high damage attacker that can clean up late game, this card could be quite phenomenal, really. I think where Fernheart truly shines is by enabling ranged scavenger units like Eyes of the Fanged. There's also Venari Seedsmith, which is similar, but Eyes of the Fanged just does its job better, it's cheaper, and it has more speed. A big reason Isa couldn't see much play in Bronze was the fact that ranged units can't attack in the front. Fernheart removes the biggest roadblock for this strategy to work. You would play Epona and Fungus Fiend to make this strategy really broken, and Fernheart giving the +1 health gives these 2 cards alone the effective health of 9 for the cost of only 1 mana. And then when they die, they buff Eyes of the Fanged, so Eyes of the Fanged is now 6 mana after both of them died. So for 5 mana, you're getting 15 effective health. Not including the Summoner, which I think is frankly quite ridiculous. You could also play a tank in front, you could also play backline units, and remember this combo is all very cheap, so you could even play Mythica Headhunter with this. I personally think that Cornelius would also be another great pick for pairing him with Fernheart, either as a backline DPS or as a tank, since it can stall out the game towards a fatigue win or negate 4 damage every single turn. I'm giving Fernheart a 4 out of 5, enable certain strategies, like I mentioned, the scavenger strategy breaks ranged units as a class by allowing them to attack from that first position. My only real gripe with it is that a counter is being printed in the same set, Ilthain, and Ilthain with Dax Paragon is going to be a very, very cheap counter to ranged units. That's going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these 6 summoners, which one you think is the best. Like, subscribe, bye.